Thank you, Dan. I first want to start by just double checking I didn't miss a window for championship requests. I didn't know that announcement was coming, so we can talk later, I guess, Chris, about some of our championships. Perfect. It's a little bit of partnership, right? So first of all, some thank yous. On behalf of Golf Ontario's board, our board chair, Susan Vale, board members Michael Lamontagne here today, some of our senior staff, Asia Crawford and Nick Taylor, the rest of our staff team, we are incredibly excited to be part of this project. I want to thank, obviously, Chris, for your partnership. We have a great partner right now in Wooden Sticks, in Greg Seaman, and their commitment to Golf Ontario over 20 plus years. Thank you to Garrett for including us and being part of this, and giving us the opportunity to paint that picture that you're talking about. We share so many partners together, and we are just so excited to be a part of this together. Golf Canada's current president was also our president back in 2010, I believe. So it is really neat to see some of these synergies here today. I'm going to take this down a little bit of a different path for a moment. I'm going to really localize this to Ontario, even though it's the home of Canadian golf. I've got the mic and I represent Ontario. So we're going to talk a little bit about Ontario. But we are, as much as we are as excited, and I am thrilled to maybe share a floor with Dan Pino, maybe, if I'm lucky enough. This is about the next generation of Canadian golf, the next generation of Ontario golf, the next generation of Ontario and sport leaders, players, and coaches. And I've always been a big believer, and I could be wrong, but Liz might have given me this saying, but if you can't see it, you can't be it. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples, and then maybe we together can imagine what might happen here in the coming years. But we used to struggle, back in my sport development days, we used to struggle with helping athletes understand certain concepts. So we all know junior golfers, call it 100 yards and in, they like to rip the covers off it with a lob wedge. And our coaches would work with them and say, we got to get you to flight the golf ball. And they never really are listening. So we bring in a PGA Tour player, John Mills. Well, it's amazing what happens when young juniors start watching tour pros do it, how quickly their minds change. Similarly, at championships, we run a program called Future Champions. And many of you probably were there back in, I want to say it was 2012. Matt Hill won our Ontario Amateur. I was at Craig Gowan. And we have all these kids hanging around in shirts, and Matt Hill is there signing the backs of all of these shirts. And you better believe that all of those kids left there believing that maybe one day they could be Matt Hill. Now, I'm going to bring it back to this property. You can imagine a situation, and this is what gets me really excited, as you can tell, is you can imagine a performance center, the home of the first tee of Canada, first tee of Ontario. You can imagine a clinic happening where kids are learning the sport, but just down the range or in the short game center, you have regional teams and Team Ontario, and the ability for the kids at that age to see something that they want to be in person on a regular basis. The examples I just gave you happen one-offs at championships, at camps. This can happen every day here. This can happen every day where out of the blue, maybe Corey, maybe Mac, maybe Brooke are here working with national team coaches. And maybe, some of those young juniors in the first tee or in Team Ontario have the opportunity to go watch Corey hit golf balls and maybe learn something that maybe they're being taught by their coach, but maybe they weren't listening. It is a real opportunity when you can really help people see it, and they can believe in being something in this sport. And that is absolutely the opportunity we have, and why we're really excited to be part of this. Those are sport development examples. But you can imagine, we've talked about collaboration, innovation. When we see an office where we are all working together, it is going to be about the future leaders. When they can see collaboration, when they can see it, it will only serve our sport for future years. So we are beyond excited to be here. I personally have been dreaming about the day that we would have a short game center where we would have partners in the same office together. And I really appreciate that Lawrence is bringing this to fruition. So thank you very much, and I'll pass it back to you, Dan.